Okay, sorry. It's Nina Wilder, right? Am I crazy?
That's the one.
Oh, look.
Devaan
Hey,
Joshi!
I'm sure he smashes.
Bradley Semotiuk!
Hey, Brad.
What's up, boys?
How's it going? You look like you're just chilling Sunday.
I woke up 4 minutes ago.
Hey, Nancy Ho, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, Zizi. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you guys too. What's up?
Hello, Nadine. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Leif, what's going on, man?
Hey, Susie.
Hey, Luke. Hey, Kyle. How's it going?
Hey. Faris, how's it going, man?
Yo, what's poppin'?
Okay, so do you have like a joke or a premise that doesn't land, but you just won't give up on it? Like it you just love it so much and you just will not let it go?
Oh, for example, okay, so one bit that I want to work on, and I the last open mic, everyone was just like wide eyed. I was talking about my grandma because she drives me fucking up the wall, because she's this type that's like think like yoga hippie type, like she's like connected with the universe and shit. But she's so pretentious about it that she's just like you know what I mean, like she thinks that she's like connected to the spiritual powers that be, and then she knows more than you and all this fucking like you just want to take all her fucking lavender stones and shove it up. like, man. So I was trying to do this bit where I was talking about this real event where my dad was in the hospital pre-surgery and he was like hyped up on pain meds, and she came in to visit him and like gave him like this weird ass naturopathic medicine that was like expired to try and help him, which is like so fucking dangerous. So I lost it on her, and then she went out. She's like, "I love my son. I am meditating for him," and whoa, like what's wrong with you? And then that same day, she tried to leave the hospital, and she walked into an open OR. Like what is like I'm like and then she complains that they were yelling at her, and I'm like, yeah, you could have fucking killed the guy on the table. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is? And she's complaining. She's like, well, I didn't know where the exit was. It was confusing. And I'm like, lady, turn your fucking eyes to the floor. There's dots leading to the fucking exit. Like, ah. Anyway, it just came off really angry, and yeah.
And I do have a joke about how it's frustrating that climate change is such a real thing, and the best we can do is send in a 16-year-old white girl. At the time was Greta. She was 16, and it's funny because I'm trying to make the joke. It's like, no, I'm impressed that a 16-year-old can do this. I'm just unimpressed that that's the best. Like, is there no one else? Is there no one? And no one likes it. So far, no one wants to get on board with me. Even people who don't believe in climate change are like, be nice. She's 16 years old. So that's one but I won't give it up, because at the end of the day, I'm like, we can get more than that in there. But for now, she's still way cooler than I am, and I have to admit she's doing way more important things than I've ever done. So I'm sure it just comes across bitter, but I'm gonna keep working.
Yeah, I have a lot of those, but the main one is, do you want to know what it is?
Absolutely.
I have this joke that I've been doing since like 2017 that never works, but will eventually, about my dad being a cop and watching police brutality videos with him, and him being like, "Oh, he had to get punched." It's the gist of it. It's not the whole joke.
I talk a lot about my childhood and my dad, because my dad is a Vietnam War vet, and
wow.
he did 6 tours of Vietnam, so he's a really super intense man.
Yeah.
And so I really had a bit of a crazy childhood growing up with a total military dad that's always preparing us for war. So...
And he was preparing for the guerrilla style side, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, well he was in the South Vietnamese Army, and he was a helicopter pilot there. So he was a gunship pilot, did reconnaissance, extraction, Red Cross, you name it. He did. He was like right in the middle of all the fights. So
wow.
Yeah,
cool.
So growing up with and then when we moved, we came as refugees from the Vietnam War. When we moved here, he also worked as a helicopter pilot in Canada.
Oh,
So
cool.
there's just a lot of weird jokes about my dad. He's also a man of few words, so having conversations with him is really can be tough because it's like one word answers. And so yeah, those are jokes that I work on, still working on because I think they can evolve into, you know, interesting stories. And yeah, and then I talk a lot about just, you know, I'm a single parent, you know, and so working on jokes about like my kid, and I find like a lot of people can relate to that too. So parenting and dating, it's like a whole mishmash. I like to have material that's a little bit for everybody.
I do have jokes like that, and I think there's quite a few. But the first one that comes to mind is during the pandemic, very early, like March 2020, when things were going down. I saw everybody was learning how to do like new things and taking their time to do things now that they didn't have to work as much and so on. And I was sitting on TikTok, I think, for the very first time, and I was live streaming, and my daughter was there, my 5-year-old, and I said I wanted to learn how to do something during the pandemic, so I was going to learn how to play a little guitar, a ukulele. And I try that every time, and my 5-year-old, even on that video, still, you can hear her, she goes, "That's not funny." And I keep trying because I think it's hilarious, but...
I think it's a piece of a joke. Like, okay, maybe the entire premise, the premise of the joke is not, I love telling it, but there's a piece of that joke that I particularly love to tell, and not a lot of people always get it. So basically the premise of the joke is me talking about dividing my mom's ashes. So that part of the joke can go either way, depending on who the audience is, but the part of the joke that nobody ever gets is when I talk about my brother being an addict and snorting my mom's ashes, and you know, I make a Ghost reference, which is not the typical pottery scene in Ghost, but more of like the you know, the Whoopi Goldberg or Patrick Swayze's ghost taking over Whoopi Goldberg's body. That part of it, and I think it's absolutely hilarious to think of, but not everybody gets that reference.
Yes. Okay. So one of the ones I have that I keep banging my head against the wall with, and like it never works. It never works. But it's the idea of like, because I've worked a lot of like blue collar jobs in the last couple of years, and a lot of my friends who I went to like fine art school with will be very condescending about it, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you. I hope things pick up for you." I'm like, "Oh no, it's union work. It's fine. I get paid as much as you writing tweets for Nabisco." But they're like, "No, you don't even use your brain at work." And I'm like, "Yeah, why do you do that too? Like, why are you keep the ring, Schindler? Like, why do you have to give your brain a love?" And it just doesn't ever hit. And like the idea of like, "Oh no, but that's menial work." This is what they'll say. They'll say, "Oh, that's menial work. Those jobs will be replaced by robots." And like my take is like, all jobs will be replaced by robots. It's just like the menial jobs will be replaced by expensive robots. Because they'll need robots that like flip grills and like move things. Like if you work in an office, if you're a knowledge worker, your job's just going to be an app.
Yeah.
And like
sure.
whenever I do it, like I get like nods from working class people, and like everyone who works in a government job is just like, "There's no truth."
It's basically it's about like in the West how obsessed we are with pets and how the rest of the world doesn't have the same relationship with animals.
I like that premise.
And basically my whole thing is like, for white people, was it like, you know, 150 years ago, and they were like, you know, I gotta own something, you know? Can I own something living? Can I? And
it doesn't even have to work. I just want to own it.
Yeah, it doesn't. I just want to own it, and I want it to be subservient to me. I don't care what it is anymore. I don't. But just if I could just have something that'll do what I tell it to, and that'll cuddle me no matter how poorly I treat it. But yeah, that's never. I don't know. That's always been a thing I've never been able to get to stick. But
okay, How much of like your personal life, like love life, relationships, all that kind of stuff, how much of that plays into your comedy?
All of it. I'm trying. I mean, I love silly comics. Like, I mean, I was just doing a guest spot on a show with Chris Gordon, who's like the ultimate silly comic. Like, you won't even get any truth out of him. but my style that I'm gearing towards is like the comics that I've always really loved and respected more than anyone else are the ones that speak about their experiences, like the really dirty raw stuff. Because I don't know. I just think there's something truly funny about that. Like, obviously, it's painful to talk about, but I think that the best kind of comedy is in pain, and it also makes your comedy very unique, and it just naturally gives you that unique voice. And I don't know. Like, I feel like I've learned so much about comedy through that. Like, people who talk about the real, like Bill Burr talks a lot about like how he's just been in these like psychotic relationships where the woman's just like not communicating well and like bashing him for being angry all the time, and it's just so fucking hilarious to me. So yeah, all of it.
I do it because I love these people so much, and you know, when I started doing stand-up comedy, people would like kind of ask, like, "Were you the funniest? Like, were you the funniest person in your family?" And my thing is, like, I was like, not really. Like, I always felt like everybody was so funny. Like, all of us were so funny, and it's so when I have these funny, quirky people who have loved me and supported me my whole life, I can't think, and they love it too. I can't think of anything better than like having super specific jokes that could only come from loving somebody. So yeah, I love doing it, and I think almost everybody should try and bring in some sort of their, personal, the people in their life, because that's to me the easiest way to connect with an audience, because everybody in the audience has people in their life that, they love but also piss them off.
I try to only write jokes about stuff that's happened to me, because then that feels safe. It feels like you can't get in trouble for that.
It just sort of feels like you're telling a story.
Yeah, I
already know.
Yeah, I like the start of the joke at least to be true, and it makes me feel better.
But
all of my material is based on my life. I actually had another comic ask me if I was a method comedian and make poor choices just for material. They're like, "Do you make bad choices on purpose?" I'm like, "No, I'm just stupid."
It's great when it happens, but don't aim at it.
Yeah, I've been called an idiot savant. They're like, "We know you're not totally stupid, but you make bad choices sometimes."
A bit. I mean, I don't know how to put exact time like on it, how much, but I can probably do 10 minutes on dating and relationships total that are kind of modified stories from my life or things that have happened, like when I tell the Tinder jokes or the jokes about my ex-girlfriend and jokes about my current partner as well. So yeah, I probably have about 10 minutes on relationships.
You say
all of it. Like, maybe not, like, I guess I've done jokes about dating and like people I've been dating. I take a lot of material from my life in general, like just being a mom, being gay, being a gay mom, like all of that. Like, whatever my life journey is basically what I put into my comedy.
Oh, I mean, like 95% is just my dating failures and attempts at connection. So yeah, that's kind of my brand, I guess.
Not any until recently. But I've been talking a lot more about dating actually lately. I've been doing some new material on that stuff. But it's even then it's generally quite. I try not to make it overly personal. So like one thing I always get nervous about is someone thinking it's about them. Especially when you're in a small town like Lethbridge, there's a chance that someone you're involved with is at a show. So, but no, honestly, it hasn't come up at all until very recently, and now I'm starting to talk a little bit more about my dating life.
Right. What was your first paid gig like?
I was emceeing Pro-Am night at Laugh Lines, which is the last independent comedy club in Vancouver mainland area. which became House of Comedy, which is now, the one based in Edmonton. There's one in New Westminster and near Vancouver. So that was really cool. Like to have a signed check to your name, and then it's the wrong name, but it still feels cool. Even if they misspell your name. Oh, like they spelled my last name wrong. So it's like it's still a win.
In Ontario, I was in Toronto, and it was in Brantford, which is where Wayne Gretzky was born. I wore my hat today because this is the only place he ever won a Stanley Cup. Just wanted to get that on the record there, Luke. I know you don't want to hear that, but it is the truth.
Yeah, Luke.
Why do I hate Wayne Gretzky?
No, I know you. You know what? The first time we hung out, you had some strong feelings to say about Connor McDavid, and they were true. I'm just still sore about them. So
I just really want him to make his fucking jersey affordable so that my son can buy it. Like it's like a mortgage payment for his jersey.
That's fair. But how do we pay for all those $13 million? Okay, and all those trips to Central Social Hall and Cactus Park. Those are expensive. That shit adds up, man.
He's just gonna not go for his fans.
Like, come on, he's not here for us. We're not even here for us.
I don't even think Connor McDavid's even really there.
Yeah, he's just in his apartment. He probably just has a tube that just shoots him from his apartment to Rogers Center, and he just goes back in.
Yeah, he's wearing his jersey.
Yeah, he's wearing his jersey. He takes all the jerseys. Like, I'm not letting him.
There's that nerdy kid that shows up with like his equipment on and his shoes.
Oh yes, exactly. But he's pretty good. So we got.
I haven't seen him. I don't like to change.
Yeah, exactly. But sorry, back to the original question. I was in Brantford. I traveled. I drove from Toronto to Brantford to I can't remember the name. So it was like a weed house. Friend of mine, Wally, he's a great guy. It was so funny, because he paid me gas and he paid me like whatever $10 as it was, and I was like, oh wow, like this, like as long as that happens to me, it's like I could do this forever. Like as long as because sometimes the barrier for me at times going to these out of town shows was you just didn't have enough cash or anything. You didn't want to spend $60, to get somewhere to do stand-up comedy. But yeah, it was like a weed house, and it's funny. There's only like 5 people in the front, and then like 12 people off to the side, and everyone was so stoned, and everybody was so great. And I remember just being like, not to be cheesy, but this is one of the things that you could do for not a lot of money, at least in the beginning, and it's so fulfilling.
It tickled your funny bone.
It really did. It was like, wow, if I get just the expenses paid for with comedy, what else could I want?
The bowling alley in Red Deer with Brandon Brown, Miklos Blackshaw, and Alicia Snyder, 3 of my bestest friends. It was fun. I remember being so nervous, like taking it super serious, and then everybody being like, trust me, you don't need to be worried about this, and me not understanding until we showed up and I saw the bowling alley. That's like a lot of what going on the road was, actually, for the start of it. Was like freaking out and then showing up and being embarrassed about what you were freaking out about.
My first paid gig was actually during the pandemic. So 2020, I think there was a room of maybe 10 people, and I think I made $10. So, 10s all around.
Wow.
Was it a good set?
Yeah, it was a good set. Yeah, it was mostly about being a Vietnamese Canadian. So
things were a little different for me because I started in Fort Mac, and there's not a lot of comedy up there. Yeah, and it was just after I came out, and I actually met a couple of drag queens who were doing a show soonish from when I talked to them. It's like 2 months away. And we were just like chatting one day, and they were like, what's something you want to do now that you're out, and bucket list items? And I was like, I want to try comedy. And they were like, open for our show then. And I was like, okay, because I didn't know. And I did it, and it was horrible. But people loved it. People laughed, and they invited me back. And so I guess the real paid show was the second one. And it was 300 people, all ages. And it was it was an experience. That was 20 minutes I was not ready for.
Headlining a local place that I can't remember the name of right now. Is on White Ave, and it was good. It was a good experience. It was fun. The audience was great. The place shut down right after. So I don't know what that tells you. Exactly. I don't know what that tells you, but there you go.
It definitely wasn't good because I can't call it from my mind. Like I've repressed it. I don't know. It was. What I don't know. What was your first paid gig?
I do. It was at a country club. That was the first time I made like some real cash. Not like here's $10 for doing a bar or something like that. It was like real money in my pocket.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, if we're talking real money, I guess like the first big thing I got was like this Tinder Tales show a couple years back.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like at the rec room, and there was like 3 layers of people. Like it was the opposite of any. You know how like the better the show, the lower the ceiling, and the smaller the space.
Right.
Like this was 3 stacks of crowd,
disconnected people.
All the seats were put apart. Like they were all there to see like a jazz band just jam. Like that's how it was set up. It was just like layers and layers of people just all looking down. And like if you did badly, they could spit on you. Like I was very aware of that. I was like, okay, well, if it feels like rain, time to call it.
It was I made $5. I won it. I won the $5. Doing improv. It was like just like improv on like a Thursday in Lethbridge, and I remember joking about hockey. I think they gave me hockey, which I don't watch. I don't know much about. But I guess that made it funny to watch me try to talk about hockey, and I ended up making $5 whole off of the goal.
Ooh. Improv cuts are low. I thought $25.
I think, yeah. You know, it's no Middleditch and Schwartz, but yeah, you know, we do what we can.
Yeah.
If you could roast anyone, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would your big closing?
Closing would be hard. Okay, so just given my mind state right now, given the state of the world, I chose Ryan Reynolds because he's just like, he's nice, he's wealthy, he's funny, he's cool. Like, fuck that guy, you know what I mean? like he makes everyone feel so bad about themselves. Like, I've never seen a guy whose like Instagram account gives Instagram an eating disorder. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I would go into like the fact that he's a celebrity that's attractive, but he also does so many good things. Like I don't know if you guys follow Ryan Reynolds' charity work, but he does everything. He like donates to the food bank. He donates to indigenous youth. Like if there's an earthquake in Haiti, he's fucking there. I'm like, no one is lighting up your bat signal, Ryan. Like fucking like, like even if karma was a thing, like even karma would tell Ryan to like gear the fuck down.
And I tried to think of someone no one would think of, and I couldn't really come to it. But then I was watching a movie with my girlfriend and my dad last night that had Rasputin in it, and the old ancient Russian mystic that was very close to Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, which was the last Tsar of Russia.
Also, the craziest eyes in history.
Exactly. Just a really disheveled, like, you know, kind of gross-looking human being, but was believed to be a mystic and, you know, a healer. And to me, it was really like one of those first conspiracy theories that people just bought into. And he just used it to have sex with everybody.
He was like he was pretty influential, and he
Yeah.
used it to like have orgies. It was-
just to have orgies, and I'm like,
that
and he
was his
banged-
in, man.
Yeah, that was his in, and he banged everybody. And that's the thing. That's more impressive to me. Like it did not matter. Like I'm still trying to get my girlfriend to like me, and this guy was just didn't matter. He was just slaying. So I'm like, I was more impressed. And again, like the fact that it was just like one of those conspiracy theories, and it just shows, you know. And not to say anybody, hey, you believe whoever's watching out there. I'm not trying to discredit your beliefs, but you know, if you're getting it. But you know, yeah, there's a limit. Like, you know, you still got to go outside. Let's all be fair. But yeah, I think he was one of those first conspiracy theories. And if I had a roast joke, it'd be tough because I'd probably be in Russia and I'd be terrified. But
but in Russia, you would roast yourself.
That's true. I wouldn't even say it. Exactly. I'd set myself on fire. Yeah, there we go. That's the. You know what? Fuck mine. That we're taking that one. No, I still wrote something down though. And I said, because he was killed. He was killed eventually. So I wrote, you know, Rasputin is someone who's probably gonna fuck someone you love, but not before he fucks himself.
Who I would make fun of, and this might be controversial, but I would make fun of Joseph Stalin.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like it.
I know, like, I
He's
feel like
due for it, man.
I feel like the liberals are getting too into Stalinist policies lately, so that's who I would roast.
Nice.
And I'd say Joseph Stalin. Yeah, the only thing smarter than him is a damn rock at the bottom of the ocean, folks. That's what I would say. He would kill himself. Stalin would have went out like Hitler if I said that to him.
Yeah.
I would only roast people I don't really like. And there's only two people I would say right now I don't really like. That would be Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I enjoy football. I guess fine. Those two jerks are just prima donnas, you know? They just can't get enough of themselves. And I used to like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't like him anymore because there's so much shit that comes out of his mouth that I feel like his asshole is jealous, you know? So I just want him to be quiet, just play fucking football, and that's it. Just play football, no talking.
Yeah.
I think I would roast Kanye West.
Yeah.
I think. Just because he provides a lot of material himself, you know? Like you just stand up there and he'll give it to you. And I don't know what my big closer would be, other than maybe he shouldn't run for president. He's getting a little chubby. Maybe he should like sit for president, maybe. That or Rex Murphy. Screw that guy. Screw that guy on the news. There's no Rex Murphy from the news. That guy. Ugh, not a fan.
He's
Not a
crazy
fan.
looking though.
And he's originally from New. Yeah, but you know, he looks like one of. You guys remember the show Dinosaur from like 1993?
Yeah,
He looks
yeah.
like he's one of those puppets. That's what he looks like to me. He looks like a dinosaur puppet that went wrong, mixed with like Maggie Smith, and he's still writing columns about stuff like it's 1800s. I hate that guy.
Overcoming my mom's death by being funny about it is I would definitely roast my mom. Who died 6 years ago. And I guess my closer would be a build up. My closer would be like, you know, like, I've always wanted to roast my mom, but unfortunately, I think somebody else beat me to it. Because she was cremated and all, so.
That's good. I think it would be Ronald Reagan because I think he's like the biggest the biggest monster of like my parents' generation and like our generation. Like
The trickle down economy piece of shit himself.
Yeah, like
Ronald
okay,
Reagan.
yeah, he destroyed the working class. He set the foundation for like the income inequalities that we have now. And like, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it seems a little convenient that AIDS happened under his watch right after he made that movie with the chimp. I'm not saying he's patient zero, but we do have pictures of them in bed together. Like,
if I could roast anyone dead or alive, maybe Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, nice.
It would
I
be
see
Jackie.
Kyle looking confused. He's a
Go with
baseball player. He broke down the racial barriers and was the first black guy to play in major leagues.
Oh, why would you roast this guy?
Why would I roast? Just because. Why would I roast him? I just think it would be hilarious. Because I mean, I've always thought about how funny, or where would we be in life if Jackie Robinson wasn't that good?
Would it be suck?
Like not even like if he sucked. If he was just average, you know.
Yeah.
If he was just like a regular player, like where would we be in history
Right.
if Jackie Robinson didn't stand out? And I think my closer would probably be my closer. I thought of this this morning. I was like, oh yeah, it would be. How do you feel about breaking down racial barriers but not changing our reputation for stealing? So hey, that's a bit of a deep cut, but if you know who Jackie Robinson was, that's a fire joke. Luke,
That is a fire joke for Jackie Robinson for sure.
How do you start getting ready to start a tour?
How do you start? One, I think, is just get your act in order. You know, make sure. I think it depends too on like your experience with like longer sets and things like that. And even me, like I'm only just starting to break into the headlining roles and stuff. So now it's like, okay, where do bits tie in together? Try different transitions. I think it's less the time for like new jokes. And now more time for figuring out the order of things, figuring out whatever. And then learning how to just be spontaneous, be in the moment. These are the times more than ever when you got to find having fun in stand-up, right? One of my favorite pieces of advice was materials is your last resort. Right? So it's...
Was that
Sorry?
Is that Mike Dambra?
Is that Mike Dambra? No, that's not Mike Dambra, because I think Mike Dambra, I think material is more of a never.
Yeah. Which works for him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's one of the best in the game for a reason, right? Like he's incredible at that. But and it's just like, yeah, I think it's for shows like these, yeah, it's now about learning more how to tie your act together than it is about filling time and whatever. Just I have the minutes, I'm just gonna do the jokes. It's like, no, now how can I turn this into a coherent act that's smooth and the transitions feel natural and things like that. So I think it's more a lesson in tying the acts together.
Don't expect it to not suck immediately. It's supposed to suck for a couple of years, and get a 5-minute clip. That's my advice.
Yeah, I mean, definitely hit up the mics. You know, always keep trying that new material. I think, you know, when you have a set and every comic has eaten shit, for sure, you learn a lot from when that happens, and it does make you more resilient. So just keep reworking that material. I also would say I think it's important to build a certain image or a style for yourself so that you are memorable. I think there are a lot of comics out there. There are a lot of good comics, and I think being able to present a certain image, like you're branding yourself. Really, you've got to come up with a brand for yourself, a personal brand, and I think that will help you along the way for sure.
Move the mic stand. Don't run the light. If you only got 5 minutes, try not to engage in the audience, especially if you're new, because you're going to get derailed and forget where you were, forget a joke. Don't get derailed. Try not to get too much inside your own head. If you do forget a joke, it's not that big of a deal. Stage comfort's super important. I kind of have a little bit of pieces for everything, I think. So a lot of things in the beginning, because especially I was in Fort Mac pretty much learning all on my own. And it took a while to figure those out. And I'm like, I wish somebody would have told me.
Right.
So yeah, so I don't know, I have a bunch of like little one-off tips, but the biggest one I think that I'd like to give newer people to like break it to the next level is just just get as much stage time as they can and get comfortable on the stage. I mean, even in the beginning, I had solid jokes. My jokes were fine. My writing was great, but because I'm humble, and but my stage presence, it really wasn't there. I was just getting up there and ramming through my jokes as fast as I could. And your presence and comfort on stage is like you can tell when you can't hide green, right? You can see it. You can always feel it when they're not comfortable up there. So that's a big one.
My first year, I didn't expect any of that. Like, I didn't expect to get paid or anything. So I think maybe just going into it for the love of doing the comedy, and things will come. And not to expect huge payouts, because it doesn't happen. You know, but it's networking, it's doing really shitty shows to get to the good shows. It's understanding that you'll learn to love shitty shows, I guess is like, yeah, like you learn to really love those small, intimate audiences that don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think you just go from there. Don't expect to be paid. I remember, like, I went on the road a few years into my doing comedy, like being serious with it. And we ended up it was me and Scott Porteous, and we ended up in Thunder Bay at a place called Sports Bar and Grill. Sorry, the Dragon's Den Sports Bar and Grill. It was in a parking lot of a Walmart.
That's great.
And I'm like, this like me walking into this is going to be fun. And I get in there and there's nobody there. There's like four locals that come there, you know, like regulars that are sitting at the bar with backs to us. They're not giving it a hoot whether we're there or not, you know?
Right.
And it ended up being one of my favorite rooms to do. My favorite story to tell was doing that room. So yeah, they're not easy, but when you get them, that is one hell of a story to tell people.
I don't know. Does Canada have an industry? I mean, I know like 4 comics who don't have a day job in Canada, maybe. I think like just writing, because like you can do weird manipulative shit to like, you know, like try to get on shows and do a curry favor with people, and I guess like that's a short-term game, but like just write, just perform, be nice. Yeah, like I don't think there's really a trick. What do you think? If you had to give advice, what would it be, Kyle?
Being nice, cordial, that goes a long way. Yeah. And always being humble. Like even today, like I'll still like say thank you for the spots, and I'll say like,
yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you? It's a treat. It's a treat to be on stage. It rocks.